Welcome back to The Connected Mind. I'm J. Andre Faust. In episode 1, we talked about the two-tiered system, how Russia was slammed with sanctions over Ukraine while Israel, despite its actions in Gaza, kept getting a pass. Then in episode 2, we stepped back and traced the history of how Israel came to dominate the region. Today, those two threads come together. We're back in the present, and the big question is this: can Palestine finally achieve recognition as a state? Let's start with the timeline. On September 12, 2025, Canada and France signaled that they were ready to bring a resolution to the United Nations to recognize Palestine. It was basically a warning shot: end the famine in Gaza or face the cost of legitimacy. But then, just 9 days later, on September 21st, 2025, that warning turned into action. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that Canada now officially recognizes Palestine as a state. This wasn't just talk. It was a historic shift in Canadian foreign policy and put Canada at odds with its closest ally, the United States. France is expected to follow, and if they do, European weight will be right behind recognition. That tells us something important. Western patience with Israel has just worn thin. It snapped. And Netanyahu's response: not compromise, but escalation. A government that answers diplomacy with famine and famine with force. Meanwhile, that two-tier system still stands. Think about it. Russia invades Ukraine, and instantly the world unleashes sanctions. Banks frozen, trades collapse, oligarch fortunes gone. Israel starves Gaza, and even after famine was officially declared by the UN's Food Security Agency on August 22nd, what happens? Mostly words. Condemnation, yes. Consequences, no. So why the double standard? Simple. Geopolitics bends laws. Israel isn't Russia. Israel is a U.S. ally. And in the UN Security Council, America's veto is like a shield. Beyond that, Israel's strategic value in the Middle East, intelligence, military, energy routes, makes it untouchable. That's why enforcement isn't about justice, it's about power. Now here's what makes Canada's recognition so interesting. It shows that pressure from below, years of civil society movements, boycotts, human rights campaign, has finally moved into the heart of government policy. The momentum that used to live in petitions and protests just crossed the line into state action. So what does recognition actually mean? At the UN General Assembly, it's mostly symbolic. Palestine would gain access to treaties, international courts, and wider diplomatic legitimacy. But to become a full UN member, you need Security Council approval. And that's where the U.S. veto blocks the door. Which brings us to Donald Trump. At the General Assembly, he can't veto recognition. That power doesn't exist there. But he can lean on allies to abstain, and he can punish countries that cross him. And that's what makes Carney's move so bold. For decades, the U.S. relied on allies like Canada to hold the line against recognition. That consensus has now cracked. And Trump, he's already shown his hand. He's blasted the International Criminal Court after it issued arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. And his administration even slapped sanctions on ICC judges and prosecutors. He's just not protecting Israel at the UN. He's attacking the very institutions trying to hold Israel accountable. That's not neutrality. That's a shield. So the real question isn't if Trump will defend Israel, but how far will he go? And what price countries like Canada and France will pay for breaking ranks. Now that Canada's recognition is official, as of September 21st, 2025, the stakes are no longer hypothetical. The veto is looming in the background, tanks are sitting at Gaza's edge, and famine is still claiming lives. The future of Palestine may turn not only on international law, but on raw politics and the choices of one man in Washington. In our next episode, we'll dive into the history and evolution of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, and explore how its legacy continues to shape today's conflicts. I'm J. Andre Faust. This is The Connected Mind, and if you found this episode valuable, hit the subscribe. Your support helps me keep producing content that digs deeper into the issues of our world. Until next time, take care.